Welcome back, guys. It's June 19th, 2011. This is Down the Rabbit Hole. I'm your host, Popeye, from FederalJack.com. And today I am joined by the legendary Susan Lindauer. And Susan, we're talking about the war crimes that are going on over in Libya right now. And we were talking about the article that we put together. And you were, there was over the course of the past, I'd say, 15 years, Gaddafi was actually doing a lot of good for the citizens of Libya and the people of Libya that the media doesn't talk about. And I know you wanted to get into that. But before we get into that, I just wanted to ask you, what other war crimes are being perpetrated? I mean, just besides the stuff that we were able to show in the article, I'm sure you guys have found other stuff like civilians getting blown up by NATO bombing raids and stuff like that.
First of all, I want to thank you and really praise you at Federal Jack for having the courage to post this. I've got to tell you, I've done a lot of work with the Intel Hub, and I love those guys. Alex Thomas said to me, Susan, if we put this up on the Intel Hub, they'll crash our site. GoDaddy will shut us down. And he said, you know what? I want to work with Federal Jack. and Alex came to you and said, and made this introduction, and you of all have you are reputed to have the best uncrashable server on the whole internet.
Yeah, when we
I'm serious. It's like, yeah. But I mean, Alex was like, I know where this has got to go on Federal Jack. And he said, that's where you put it. And I was like, and he was just like, Susie, trust me on this one. They can't break Federal Jack because you won't back down. And that's half of it. But you're uncrashable, apparently.
Yeah, well, that's kind of like the Titanic saying they were unsinkable. We
won't dare them. We won't challenge them.
We have been taken down before, but we get attacked all the time, and being taken down twice in the course of like a year and a half when we're constantly being attacked, it's pretty cool. But yeah. I don't want to float my own boat. I actually have nothing to do with that. That actually is my IT guys. There's two of them, and I got to say, the two of them are wizards. If it weren't for them and their friends who help them, there's a lot of hackers out there that support, what we do, and they respect us because we talk about things that other people won't talk about. So
yeah,
they try to keep a protective web around us because they don't like when we get screwed with. And when we get screwed with, not only do you piss us off, but it pisses them off, and it makes them fight harder. So the information will never ever go away. It won't go away. It'll always be there. They can't shut it down. We'll find a way to, if they shut the internet down, we'll make an alternative internet, and it'll get out. They can't stop it. It's like a virus.
Excellent. Very cool. Very, very cool. Well, this is one of those times for your listening audience to know that the ability to deliver the truth is probably paramount. CNN is feeding you pablum. It's like you're like it's not you, not this audience, but Americans are just so. It's like an opiate. They're like on some drug addiction that they can't deal with truth, and they're just seduced and lulled into this deep, opiate slumber is how I imagine. I imagine that it's like in The Wizard of Oz where Dorothy falls asleep in the poppy fields. That's kind of what's happening in America. And these videos are devastating to what NATO has done. One of the videos, the first video, is a beheading, and it is a crude, awful, horrific picture of somebody of cutting a man's head off. And the second video is Libyan rebels have cut the throats of Libyan soldiers in a jeep, and which is a clear violation of International Geneva Conventions of War, which requires the protection of prisoners of war. If you're captured in battle, you're not supposed to be slaughtered immediately. Well, these are NATO rebels. The CIA is on the ground, and they are behaving in the most atrocious ways that are against international norms. And again, and the reason this has got to be shown is that the first video will show you you're dealing with Al-Qaeda. I tell you, these are the people who have been in Iraq, Chechnya, the Balkans, and they're the foreign fighters who've been committing these atrocities in these other countries. And now they've gone home, and they're bringing their bad ideas with them. And I wrote an article called Going Rogue, NATO War Crimes in Libya.
I republished it on Federal Jack, actually.
Yeah. And one of the horrors that has been happening is that the NATO rebels have been going around raping a lot of women, and a lot of Libyan women in Misrata and Benghazi and in some of the smaller towns. And of course, when I published this, a lot of people challenged me and said, okay, where's the documentation? Well, documentation that Federal Jack here is about to post for us includes, I just got something today that I'm getting videos every single day. So you're going to need to, I hope that Federal Jack here is going to keep this page active, because I'm just going to keep providing sources, and you guys can check back periodically and see the latest war crimes. But
yeah, I'm going to put a link, actually, once we get all the videos up on it. I'm going to put a link on the side of the site, just, with a little picture, and it's not going to be a picture of anything gross. It's going to be like something that says like Libyan war crimes. That way they'll be able to click on it and see it for themselves at any given time, and then they can go back and, as it gets updated and more and more more and more videos or evidence, pictures, whatever, of war crimes come in, we can document it. So at least there's at least a paper trail, and at least somebody tried to document what is going on to these innocent people over there, because it's atrocious. Because if it was happening in my country, I wouldn't be standing around tolerating it. I would be doing the same thing that some of these pissed off people are doing, and I would be fighting back.
Yeah. I mean, one of the videos that came in today is of a woman whose breasts were cut off. Okay? The rebels gang raped her, and it is a long interview with her attorney, and she's covered in a chador. And I have not yet seen whether they have been willing to expose her bandages. But I had asked that a Libyan doctor stand by to confirm the rape. And the interview is with her attorney, who they're suing for damages from NATO. They want NATO to pay. They want the British government and the French government.
Well, she's got a good attorney. That's why they wanted to pay. And they should pay rightfully, because what happened is horrific. And again, just as Susan gets into some horrific details about war crimes, she gets cut off again. But this time, I didn't, because I did something proactively to protect myself. Let me get her back on the line really quick, guys. Sorry for the interruption, but, when you're dealing with...
Hello?
Susan.
Hi there.
Okay, no big deal. Like I said to the audience, just as you were getting into the nitty-gritty about war crimes, boom, your phone goes dead again.
That's right. And I want to be clear, this is not a cordless phone. There's no battery. This is an good old-fashioned, reliable plug-in phone. There is no reason that this phone should be going out exactly at the moment that I tell you about the Comprehensive Peace Framework in Iraq or the war crimes documentation of the rapes. There is another video that's going to go out that Federal Jack is processing right now, has a horrific scene of a dead soldier, Libyan soldier, who is cut up. His body is rotting, and he's been dead for a couple of days. And a Libyan rebel cuts up his body and force feeds it to Libyan prisoners of war, Libyan soldiers who have been captured. This is forced cannibalism. It is grotesque. This is the real story of what's happening in Libya. And if the irony is that if Gaddafi was really doing this, then NATO bombing would be justified. But it's not Gaddafi who's doing it. It's the NATO rebels who are doing it. And the NATO bombing campaign is to protect the rebels because the rebels have cut a deal with Israel, and they've cut a deal with apparently with some, which we'll come back to in a second. But I want to come back to that about the cutting.
Let me ask you something about
very dirty.
Let me ask you a question about the rapes and stuff. You know how the mainstream media, Gaddafi's giving his soldiers Viagra to run around raping people. Are the rapes? Obviously, I don't buy that, and most people, anybody with half a brain, could tell you that's, again, incubator baby story. But
yeah,
does that correlate to the rapes that are going on by the rebels? Is that where they're actually getting the raped women from?
Check this out. Cynthia McKinney, who is a former congresswoman, just returned from a fact-finding mission inside Libya with a group of people, group of alternative journalists who are not the mainstream media. Okay, she found out from her government sources that the only shipments of Viagra into Libya have been to the U.S. government. The U.S. government has been handing out Viagra to older men in the rebel forces to try to get them stirred up for battle.
Interesting. So again,
and the United States is the only major purchaser of Viagra that's going into Libya.
Does that surprise
and it has been handed out. It has been handed out to the rebels.
Of course it has. We're going to break, Susan. So I'll have to cut you off right there, guys. Stay tuned. I got another hour. We'll be right back.